Hi, I'm the Moorlander and this is Moorlander EDC. Now today's piece of content couldn't have landed any more perfectly, but unfortunately in this instance, not for me. Mrs. Moorlander is away with her friend. She's going to somewhere just outside of Barcelona in a few weekends or a few weeks time. And normally when she sees large packets arrive addressed for the Moorlander, she's like, what have you got sent to you now? But these came out and she was like, maybe we should make this a family business and I should start helping to test these out as well. I said, no, get your grubby mitts off because we are here today to look at the Axone travel collection. Here's the backpack. Now this is something that I've worked kind of in the past. So a few months back, I'm trying to think, I think it was definitely this year, Axone sent me their EDC, their daily carry backpack, and I was really impressed with that. There are quite a few features on there that I think are different enough that they've been able to separate themselves out from some other popular companies, and I was very impressed. So I've kept the relationship going with them, and they contacted me and said, we'd love to send you the next version. So one of the things that I said about the previous one, and it certainly isn't a downside, it's around that 20-25 litre size, which is great, but there was a few things on there I just thought. On their website they mentioned a travel or a large version, which got me thinking for those times when you've got a 3-day, 4-day, 5-day, or maybe even more event or something that you're going to that you can pack for. So what they have is they have this 35 litre backpack, which we will have a look at in a moment as well, but they also have a few other things as part of that. Now this is all currently on Kickstarter, so stay tuned. I'll give you some details towards the end. But for now, if you really need to see, have a check down in the description below and you can see the links to their Kickstarter, and you can see more about this directly from the horse's mouth, I guess you could probably say. But for now, as I always do, I'll turn the camera around so that we can take a closer look at both of these. Whilst I'm doing that, if you enjoy this content at any point, please feel free to hit the like and subscribe. That would be amazing. And hey, if you find this useful and you think I'd like to buy that guy a beer, check out that new thank you button just down there. That'd be awesome. But for now, let's take a closer look at the Axone travel collection. Now, as we're filming indoors today, you might notice the odd snout that appears. Apologies if they do get in the way. I'll try to get them out of the way as quickly as possible. But we've got two products to look at today. We have the travel backpack, but there is also the luggage, which we will have a look at as part of this. There is a third item, which are some organisation cubes or packing cubes. They're not included with the version that I've got here, but as mentioned, there is a link that you can look at to have a look at the Kickstarter, and you can see how they all fit in with this. So starting off with the backpack, this is a 35 litre backpack, which is perfect for travel. Now I'm just going to quickly budge that over for 1 second and compare this to your average kind of away for 3 or 4 days, or I suppose 4 to 5 days, and the style of carry-on luggage. So there is very little difference between these two. Now I'm going to just take that out for a second because I think it's messing with my white balance on the camera. But this is perfect for those sort of things, with a little bit more so where you have the laptop compartment and some other things in here that just make it more useful if it is that you're either going away for business or just want to take some more electronic things with you. Now there's quite a lot to talk about, so I won't try and rush through them too much, but knowing that we've got a second one to look for, I'm just going to get straight into it. So here on the front we've got some additional compression straps. Now these compression straps can be completely removed, which I quite like about these. These are almost like an aluminium G-hook. They remind me of the hooks, or at least the fastenings that you get when you use quite high-end climbing equipment. And these just clip on, or you can take them off relatively simply, but they are very similar to the military style G hook. So if you want to put additional things on the front here, or just have additional strappings down, then you can do that. But if you wanted to pass something through here underneath, then you can do that as well. Now for now, I'm just going to take these off, but these are included with this. There's one there and one at the bottom as well. It does come with traditional compression straps. So there's one at the top, one at the bottom here, with these really nice buckles. Now as I'm going through here, what I'll do is I'll make sure I detail down in the bottom more about the items that I'm talking about. But it's the same, exactly the same on both sides. Now talking about the sides, they are different on each one, other than the compression straps. Here on the, I'm going to call this the left hand side, it does have a really nice big grab handle. So if you need to pick this up, you're walking through an air terminal or something like that, and you just want to carry it like this, then you certainly can do that. And also the way that this is orientated, which I think is the reason why they put it on this side, is when you lie it down like that, this is where you can zip this open to then open it out. So it makes a lot of sense that they put it on this side. Whereas on the opposite side, they have a really nice expandable pocket. So if you wanted to put a drink in here, always recommend, if you're traveling, to make sure you've got some water with you, especially when you're up in the air on a plane, then you can put that in there on the side as well. On the front, there are also two zippers pulling down on each side. Now you'd think that this was a pass-through, but my hands, although they're touching, it doesn't go all the way through. You do have two independent pockets. This one will stop there. It goes roughly up to about here. Well, you can see it goes up to here and then goes down just to where the seam is here. And then on the opposite side, it's exactly the same. It doesn't go all the way through, but goes through to where the stitching is for this side of the pocket. But on this side, you have a little bit more as far as organisation. Again, I think the reason that this has the organisation on this side is because you have the carry handle here, this side, it just makes it a little bit more easier to be able to get into there if you've got wires or cables or, you know, whatever it is that you choose to carry in. Also, there is a little key stay in there as well. Perfect for travelling, you know, you want to keep everything nice and secure, so you can put your keys in there. On the top, you have a really nice lined, felt lined pocket that you can put things like glasses and that sort of stuff into. And then we have an additional grab handle here at the top as well. Now, I would consider this a 2-compartment style bag, although we have the easy access pockets here on the front. There is a large main compartment, which is the main area that you're going to be able to put travel, clothes, all of that sort of stuff, and then you have a tech sleeve at the back as well. Now, as far as the main compartment is concerned, and this is really where the size of these two is comparable, the difference is that this one does appear to be slightly wider. Now I'm going to show you this bit first, mainly because it will make more sense when we have a look at the inside. But as this is showing here, what I've done is I've filled this. How many? I think I put in 2 large beach towels and a large bath sheet. And they're all in. They all fit in there perfectly. There's even probably a little bit more room. But if you did want to have more room, as long as all of your compression straps here on the side and then here on this side are open, there is another zip here, and this will open all the way around under the bottom and then round to the side again to be able to give you even more capacity in there, which is really nice. So now when you compare these two against each other, this is actually larger by at least maybe an inch or 2. If you wanted to use this as an additional compression, so you've got all of your stuff in there, maybe you've battened down some of these compression straps on the side, you can then zip this back around again. These are all really good, nice and strong YKK zips. I think if you're going to trust any zip to be able to keep it nice and strong, then you're really going to want YKK zips on there, and you know, they do an amazing job of being able to make sure that everything that you've got in here is safe and sound. Now the last little thing to look at before we open this up is here on the side. So very sneakily built into this seam here, there is also an additional pocket. So if you need to put valuables, maybe your passport, travel documents, anything like that, you can put that into this, zip this up, and this zip is very hard to find. Trust me, there's been a few times, where, or at least while I've been filming now, trying to find it. I'm like, which side is it on? You have to wait until you actually feel the little toggle on there. But yeah, really useful to be able to put items into that, you know, you just want to make sure are nice and safe and sound and away from prying hands. Now actually getting into the pack depends where you want to put your zips. There are double zips so that these can be opened up easily, you know, certainly not difficult to get into. And they have these cat tongue style tabs on there. Personally, I prefer to keep them at the top and I'll bring them around, but if you're using this for travel, you can have them here on the side, zip that open and then open it up. Now I've got in here at the moment, I've got one large beach towel, I've got a second large beach towel, I also have a large bath sheet, and I have a couple of or at least I have a pair of pumps in there as well, and they all fit perfectly in here. Now, as previously mentioned, so there is additional space that you can open these up, so that if you wanted to bring this up a little bit more, I could probably easily put a few more beach towels in here and just, you know, be able to go and do what I want to do. On the inside, there is some more things. So on the left hand side here, or I call this my left hand side, there's a nice little pocket. So if you want to put some additional organization into here, you can do. And then here on the right hand side, there is an additional pocket. Now this one is mesh lined so that you can see what's in here a little bit easier. And then there is also a small little pocket here as well. So if you wanted to put something like an air tag, whatever those things are called, or the tile equivalent, then you can put that in there as well, just in case you know, you're in a high risk area. If somebody did steal this, they're going to go through it, they're going to take out whatever's valuable, and then they're just going to dump it. So it does mean that if you were to put something like that in here, that, you know, hopefully you'd be able to find your bag and 90% of, you know, whatever's in there or whatever's been left. Always say situational awareness is really important, especially when you're traveling, just to make sure that you stay safe. But on the inside, you have these really nice elastic fastenings so that you can keep everything safe in there as well. Now, this bit here at the top, so this is the inside of that pocket. Remember I mentioned that there's a fleece lined pocket here, but you'll also hopefully be able to see that there's a bit of a bulge down here. That's what she said. And this is on the zipper. When I open this up, you'll be able to see that to make sure that your valuables are kept safe and dry, there is a really nice convenient rain hood built into this as well, and it's attached on the bottom here so that once, you know, it gets dry, you can put that back in and then fasten that back up. Really have thought of everything with this. Now, as far as the top is concerned, if I can bring this over like that, then you can see that we've got some more. We've got a large mesh pocket, another pocket here, and then for larger items, you can zip this open, and then you can put more larger items in here perfectly for when you're traveling. Now the last little bit, and probably the reason why I'm holding it a bit of a bizarre angle here, so that we can have a look at the tech section at the back. So you have double zips, pull these down all the way down. We pretty much have a full clamshell opening on this. So as I do that, you'll be able to see that you can have full access to everything that's in there. And it's, you know, it's all separate from this. There is, I say it's pretty much a full, it's probably about 95% of the way down. But I carry a 16-inch laptop which fits in there perfectly. It is suspended from the bottom as well, so you can make sure, you know, it's as protected as much as possible. But they've gone the extra mile on this, and I like the way that they've done this. So rather than just having the full opening that goes all the way across, It stops just here, maybe an inch, inch and a half from each of the sides. So the lateral movement on this is decreased, which when you're carrying a laptop in there certainly does help. Then you have these two little elastic straps so that you can take your laptop out and it's, you know, you can do whatever it is that you need to do with your laptop. Then in the front here, with a little bit of a nod, just in case you're unsure what this is for, you can put your tablet in there as well. Now on the front of this section, which I guess is probably upside down for you guys now, we have some more organisation in here, some really nice large pockets so that you can put all of your cables and your wires, and then you have some other additional pockets here to put more stuff in, and another pocket here at the top as well. One of the things that I do like about this is there's actually a little bit of depth in the fact that once your laptop's in there, you've got some notes, you've got all of your cables. It's one thing that I think that does get overlooked often, and that's the fact that they don't put much of the capacity in here. Now maybe there's 2-3 litres worth of capacity in here, but it does mean that when you then close this down, that you're not crushing all of the things that you've got in there, which I think is a great idea. Now, one of the areas that Axone really have been able to differentiate themselves from other competitors out there with, let's face it, similar sized bags, is the way that they've been able to, you know, update the suspension system. So rather than having traditional straps that will go over your shoulder and then curl underneath your armpits round to the back, they have this innovative system where it actually comes in and settles at the front here. So you can undo this zip, or at least I suppose you'd have it the opposite way round. You know, you'd put it on and then you'd put it on your chest. So they're not actually fiddly to get them on, but when you're trying to do this on camera, it always adds to the intensity and stress of being able to undo a zip that I've been doing for 30 years. Certainly not difficult. So these come together here on your chest. What this does is it just gives you a lot of freedom in your movement. Especially when you're walking around, you know, you kind of appreciate a little bit more how certain packs can be quite difficult to move in. Especially when you have this one here, because that rotation within your shoulders certainly allows, you know, more freedom of movement when you're wearing a pack like this. And rather than the pressure here either side of your chest where it verges onto your shoulder, it puts that pressure, or at least it moves that, so that it spreads it across the front of your body. It's a really nice system. And plus, if you don't want to use it like that, you can pull these down, cinch it back up, and it fits pretty much like a normal traditional backpack would do. So where you would have an ergonomic strap that kind of tucks around underneath your armpits, this does exactly the same. Now behind the suspension system, here at the top, we also have two sliders. When you're carrying quite a bit of weight, which, you know, if you fill this up, you can certainly find that there's a bit of weight in there, depending on whether you have broad shoulders, whether you don't have broad shoulders. You can actually slide, if you notice there, you can slide these across. For me, because I have a broader shoulder, I can open these out. Mrs. Morlander, I know she's definitely going to take this to Spain with her. She can pull these in to fit her shoulders better. Also, to make sure that you can get this in the perfect position, we also have some load adjusters here at the top. Now the foam in here, you know, it's a fairly standard foam. It's nice and plush. They've gone the extra mile to make sure that this is nice and thick as well. And then on the back of here, you have my personal favourite style of back padding. Rather than having two grooves and an additional padding here at the bottom, I much prefer two grooves that go all the way up, that run across that run either side of your spine whilst you're carrying. For me, I just find that it's a more comfortable position. It also allows more air to be able to get through as well. But then in here, there is a stabilising brace as well to make sure that you've got as much support as you possibly can do, knowing full well that you're probably going to be carrying a little bit more than you probably would do with a normal style bag. Due to the size of 35 litres, you can fit quite a bit more in here. Now Axone have also integrated their Uflow system from their smaller pack onto the travel pack here. And what this does is it just allows the bottom of this strap to be able to move through the bottom here. There's actually a channel in here which you can just put your fingers into. And that channel on the inside has got a little piece of plastic in there, again, just to make sure that this moves through as freely as possible. Because it was something I was just very curious about. How do you stop the friction from building up on that? So there's a piece of plastic in there, which again, it just helps that to slide along. Now, as you're walking, and I'm sure you probably know, your right foot goes forward, but your left arm goes forward. So there's a difference in your shoulders and your hips as you're walking. So what this does is it allows the straps, which normally would be fastened on here, which would keep this completely rigid. But what the Uflow system does is it allows you to walk, and it allows the pack to move more freely, or at least move more ergonomically on your back as you're walking with it. Now, I've not been able to put a massive amount of weight into this yet. I'm certainly going to make sure that I do that when I test this further, just to make sure I can get the most out of this. But it's a very, very cool system, and I say very way too many times sometimes, but it is a very cool system that I've not seen on any other backpack. Now, there are two parts of this. Although you can buy them all separately, there are different options as far as which ones you want to pick up. But we have the large capacity 90 litre wheeled luggage. Now, you might be looking at this and thinking, I know 90 litres and it doesn't look like 90 litres. And there's a trick to this that I've not seen before. Before I do though, I have to point out, because I know I didn't do it with the backpack, but hopefully here you can see these absolutely amazing zips. I love the zips that they did on the original pack that I looked at a few months back, and they've continued the trend with these. So you can see this really nice orange line that goes all the way around. Now, when these are zipped closed, you only see just a tiny little part of that, but all of the teeth that are on here, these are the larger YKK zippers, but all of the teeth on here are orange, but the actual back to the zip is black. So when you open it up like this, you get this really, really cool effect, and more people should be doing this. I don't know why, in fact, I don't know why more people aren't doing this. But the way in which this works is, so it's actually a two-part piece of luggage. If I unzip this, you'll be able to see on the inside here that there's a second part. Now, when you put it in, it does squash the top down just a little bit, but if you give it a pull like that, it opens back up again. I'm just going to put that there for a second whilst we have a look in here. So, very traditional style on the inside. I like the fact that they put in a zip so that you can get to the internals of this. I've had a few pieces of luggage like this where you just have this void here in the middle between the carry handle when this comes up. So it's often really useful to be able to get into here. So being able to unzip this so you can have access to that, it's a bit of a win for me, and I like the fact that the internal skirt within here, they've added the ability to be able to do that. And then inside here as well, so you have your fairly traditional elastic bits so that you can put those over to make sure that everything stays in place. But then you also have these two subdividers here. So these can lift up like that, and then you can open these with the Velcro in here, loop this behind here, and then close that over, so that if you have certain items that you want to make sure don't move up and down within here, then you can use these internal dividers to stop them from doing that. And again, so dependent on whether you have something quite long in here and you only want to have, say, one of those up, you've got an additional option there as well. On this side closest to me, we also have another large zip so that you can put additional things into here. Plus, similarly to the backpack, there's another little hidden pocket within here, so that if you want to put an air tag or a tile, you know, with whatever you want to put in there for additional security, then you can add that in there as well, and it keeps it nice and hidden. Now, I did mention this is a 2-part pack, and that is because, so if I zip that back up again, this fits onto here. So where's the zip? I always get this the wrong way around. Where is the zip? The zip is there and it fits on here. So this is the top of the bag. Here is the handle. So what you can do is you can, with these really large, bulky, this has got to be a number 10 YKK zip. You can zip that up just along the back here. So if you want to get into here, you can get into the bottom bit, you can get into the top bit, or you can zip that all the way around so that it just becomes this one large 90-litre pack. This is made from the same material. It's a 500D waterproof material. This second compartment here has got some Axone branding here at the front. They've kept this one a little bit minimal, which I do quite like. You've got these chevrons on here, and then you have this additional, how would you describe this? I'm not really sure what material it is. It's similar to the style of material that you get on like a faux leather bag, but it just feels a lot better quality than that. But there is an additional pocket on here so that you can put large items into it. There isn't one on that side. But there's a lot of capacity on this pack, on this bag. There really is a lot. But then again, so when you've got this at home, you can fill this top section. So if I open this back up again, let's pull this back round. Move that forward ever so slightly. You might have heard a bang there because I've just knocked over my my light. But you can open this up, and again on the inside here there is additional storage, so you can put additional items into here. There is also a sleeve again that you can get into this as well, so if you did want to try and find or maybe use something in here, then you can get into there again, you know, whatever you might want to. I'm certainly not saying you should stash things in there, but there are 2 mesh pockets here. Now you don't have to use these as 2 separate parts as well, because if I undo, where's the zip? Oh, sorry, no, that's not the bit that I was going to show you. But so here there is an additional section there, but then also on the outside, so if you have all of these closed, there's quite a few zips. Now I will say that about this, there are quite a lot of zips, but I guess, you know, it's the only way in which this would work. But you have your zips here again on the top, so that you can get into here. So if you did want to get something, then you can do that, or at least that would be this internal side. Like I say, there are lots of zips. So this is the zip panel, which is the bottom of this additional part that you can put onto the top. So if you wanted to get further into there, then there are some more zips here, which will then allow you to get in here as well. Now, like I say, when I first looked at this, I was like, wow, that really is a lot of zips. But do you know what? You've got to admit, there must have been times when you've gone abroad and you're trying to find something and you know you've put it at the bottom of a certain section. You're like, oh. So you open this up and you think, no, it's not on the top, it's actually on the bottom. But what you can do is, which I didn't think about this the first time, and it actually makes a little bit more sense because it makes it easier to be able to get things. So rather than having to delve in there to get whatever was on the bottom that you're after, you can open this up, and now this is the bottom of that section. So I actually quite like it. I think it's a good system. A lot of zips though, don't get me wrong, there are a lot of zips. Now, as this is a 2-piece set, kind of, because you can take this off, you can have this separate too here. if you did want to travel light, there's options on here depending on whether you're using both of these. So this is the bottom. There is a large grab handle so that you can throw this around. It's really tough as well. I will have to say that it is definitely very tough. But if this section wasn't on here, there are two large feet here so that it will sit upright. But when this is removed, this grab handle also works as a front foot so that the wheels on here work as a tripod to make sure that it doesn't fall over. Now the wheels themselves are really nice quality wheels. So these are wheels very similar to your inline skate style wheels, made from aluminium, and they have this really nice composite material, whatever this is made from, but you know, these have really nice bearings on there so that they're super smooth. I know it was one of the areas that they wanted to make sure that they put a lot of investment into to make sure that these were just right, because I'm sure you've all found that when you're traveling, these are the first things that break. The fixtures actually onto here itself. Again, you know, these are super robust. On the side, you have a large grab handle so that you can open this up that way. They've also orientated this grab handle to make sure that it's on the opposite side to the zipper, so it works in the same way as the other way. So when it's this way, you've got this grab handle, you can open this up and it will lift up. So again, you know, just a bit of, makes sense to have that on there. And then there is also a little section on there that you can put your luggage, or at least your details onto. On the front, we have two grab handles here. Again, mainly because you can decide whether you're going to use this as a single or a double. I think most people will probably use it as a double anyway, but a large grab handle, and I really do mean large. You know, I have medium to large size hands, no difficulties getting in here. It's a rolled, oh, Stanley's having a dream. It's a rolled tubular webbing with some extra reinforcement in there to make sure that it's nice on your hands. And then on the underside here, this is where your luggage holder handle slides out. Now this is really cool. I like the detail that they've put into this as well. Rather than just some rectangular tubular style metal on here. How many sides? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this is a hexagonal style, which is really nice. It's quite a short throw on this as well, which again I think I quite like, in the fact that this is taller than you generally find with a lot of these style packs. So the handle on this doesn't have to pull out as much, making it just that extra little bit more sturdier. These are, again, you know, these are the things that tend to break. But you know, you can either lock it out halfway, well, it's not really halfway, it's probably 2/3, or you can pull it out to its full length. Now, as previously mentioned, Mrs. Moorlander will have had the luxury of being able to test these out by the time this goes live. So with the hindsight of the future, I will make sure that in the description below, I'll ask Mrs. Moorlander on some feedback as far as, you know, traveling with these. The backpack, is it particularly difficult to use whilst going through security, getting things out of it, that sort of stuff. When you do your check-in and you have to put it in that little box to make sure if it fits in perfectly and fits all X, Y, and Z requirements. So have a look in the description below, and I will make sure that I check with Mrs. Moorlander to have some genuine feedback from the horses. She won't like it if I call her a horse. Genuine feedback from Mrs. Moorlander and how she found it when she was travelling with this. Now, I also previously mentioned that yes, this is on Kickstarter. So if you'd like to check out the Kickstarter, I'm a huge fan of Kickstarter. If you don't know what Kickstarter is, it's a website where companies with ideas can go onto there and they can show you what their idea is. If you'd like to back that idea and think, yeah, I think that's great, it's almost like a mini investment, but what you're doing is you're putting the funds into that so that they can start that first run, and then they can bring these items and packs to fruition. Fruition? Yeah, it's a good word. I like that word, fruition. Anyway, so the Kickstarter is live. I will leave all of the links below so that you can check those out. I'd like to at this point as well say thank you to Axone for sending these to me. These are review items, but again, you know, as I have with all of my reviews or pieces of content, I don't like to call them reviews. It's more me really talking about a product so that you can make your own mind. I certainly do like these, the backpack especially. I'm looking forward to testing that the larger one. I keep turning it around because obviously it's, you know, it's just down there. But yeah, really like these, so I'm looking forward to being able to put in some air miles with these myself. Hopefully in 2023 I'll be able to do that a little bit more. A lot of the COVID restrictions and all of that sort of stuff is certainly going out. So yes, everything in the link below, all of my social media links, they'll all be in the link below as well. But for now, stay safe, stay Moorlander, and stay EDC. Massively waffled on that last bit. I think I got there. Did I get there? I get it across. I think I got it across. Such cool straps. Really nice system. I like it. I like it a lot. It's strange how ergonomic these parts are. If you did want to, I suppose I probably should put this in review, but you know, I mean, I did put it in review. Zip it up. It fits, you know, it's very cool. So I just need to pull it up a bit. This probably shouldn't be in the bumpers. This should be in the main section. It's there. But if you don't, and you want it as more of a traditional style, pull these down. And they're actually incredibly comfortable as a traditional style backpack. There you go. There you go. Hi.